Okay, let's go from simple to advanced grammar again. Today's lesson is much easier than all the other lessons. Not only is it the first lesson that we're working on, but it's also very common. And I put it in here in this course mostly because it's used a lot. Now, it's not advanced. All the other structures that you will learn in this course are advanced. This is the only one that's not, but it's still very nice, and we could still take a simple structure and make it more advanced or better by using this structure. It's called the past perfect or the past perfect simple. Now remember, there are only 3 tenses in English. That's past, present, and future. Past, present, and future. And each one has its own aspects. So the past has continuous and perfect continuous. The present, again, the same, and the future, the same. So there are only 3 tenses or 3 times, but then each one has variations like continuous, or if it's perfect, something was completed before something else, or if it's a mixture of all of them. Today is past perfect simple. Again, forget about the name real quick. Let's jump to the grammar and see how we can make it better. So when we're telling stories or we're talking about the past, we probably are talking about different events or different things that happened in the past at different times. So when we have something like this, it was a very cold winter night and I was doing research again. The World Health Organization gave me a new virus to analyze. So there are lots of different actions or things in the past, like it was a very cold night and I was doing research. The World Health Organization gave me a new virus to analyze. The only problem here is that we're not really sure which action happened first. I mean, you can kind of tell that maybe the World Health Organization gave me the new virus and then I was doing research, but it's not clear because everything is just with the simple past. Was doing, was as continuous, but still, and then gave me. So I'm not really sure what happened first. Now, to make it better, we're going to make a little change. But first, let's analyze it. We have a first action, a second action, and a time of speaking. So the time of speaking would be now, obviously. But if we look at it on a timeline, we will see that the first action, second action, and time of speaking would look something like this. First action is WHO gave me a new virus. So that happened first. Then it was a cold night, and that's just a state, but I was doing research. That's the second action, right? And again, it comes up here, I was doing research. Time of speaking obviously is now because I'm telling the story. So to make this all come together and for us to understand that the first action was WHO giving me a virus and then I was doing research, to make that clear, we make a change. And that change will be shown to you in just a second. So it was a very cold winter night and I was doing research again. The World Health Organization gave me a new virus to analyze. I'm going to change just a little bit and it's going to become like this. It was a very cold winter night and I was doing research again. So that part's the same. The World Health Organization had given me a new virus to analyze. So the only difference is that here it was gave me and here it's had given. What happened? Now, when we have multiple actions in the past, to show that one action happened before the other actions, we use had and then the past participle. So the third part of the verb. That's the only change we make. So for the first action, we use the had plus the past participle. And then for the second or third or however many actions we have after that, we just use the past simple. The only real thing that you need to pay attention to is using that had plus the past participle to show us that this action happened before the other actions. It's an indication. It's a sign. It tells us this action happened before the other actions, or else it'll be very difficult to understand this. Let's look at examples to make it more clear. Now, the form and examples are going to be together here. Form is basically just had plus past participle, but I will show you again. Now, common sentence structures with this grammar, especially for people who are just starting to advance their grammar knowledge is by using words such as before, when, by the time, and then using a simple past structure or past simple structure. After that, you go to the had and past participles. So your sentences would look something like this. Before I got home, my wife had already cooked dinner. So they're together. You could be two separate sentences. I got home, my wife had already cooked dinner. That could work as well, right? But people use before to make it easier so that they know before I got home, my wife had cooked dinner. So we know now that this, my wife had cooked dinner, is the first action, and I got home is the second action. So that's the only thing that really matters here, knowing what was first and what was second. We use this had plus the past participle of the verb to show that that action happened first. It doesn't matter where it comes or which order in the sentence sequence it comes. Had plus past participle makes it the first action. Another sentence would be like this. When I left the house, I had already eaten dinner. So I ate dinner and then I left the house, right? And that had eaten shows me that that happened before I left the house. Yes, and I'm using when here, right? Another sentence could be, by the time I left the class, I had forgotten everything. So what happened first? I forgot everything, so I had forgotten. And then I left the class, right? Now, you can use before, you can use when, you can use by the time, or you don't even have to use any of these, and you can just do two separate sentences. When I'm telling a story and I say something like, I got home early last night. My wife had left. So I, as the listener, understand that my wife or this person's wife left before he got home. That is the whole point of this grammar, knowing that one action happened before the other. If you don't, and you say something like, when I left the house, I ate dinner, it means that it happened at the same time. Or if you say, I got home and my wife cooked dinner, it means that you got home and then she cooked dinner at the same time. So we can't understand which one happened first. But when you use the had and the PP, then we understand that that action happened first.